We're live. So we got people listening out to make sure that the audio goes right, because that's been our nemesis the last couple of weeks is audio issues, either on the front end or on the back end. So we made some adjustments, changed some wiring, changed even the entire computer that we're using to make sure that this goes right. So
that's why I'm looking down at the phone. I'm making sure I get a thumbs up and you guys can hear us.
So make sure if you're listening, give us a shout, leave a comment, let us know how we're sounding, if we're coming in crystal clear and things like that. Hopefully we got everything squared away. Today's episode, we're going to talk about their transition from summer ball to fall ball to regular season ball and some other stuff that we got coming up, and probably Coach Mo's going to give some tips to help players. And all right, you sound good. Thanks, Robin. We got it. We're going to give some tips to help players adjust to the transition, because it's not always seamless. Just because you play one position in the summer doesn't mean that it's going to be the same for the fall. So we're going to just talk about that. We're going to try to keep it short and sweet and to the point, and we're going to roll the intro and then get back to y'all. All right, we're back. Brian.
Coach Mo.
All right. Today's episode is going to be a short and sweet one, but we're going to be retreading. We're going to be covering some stuff that we talked about that got cut out of the last podcast. So no fluff live stream. No fluff live stream. So, Coach Mo, what do we got going on right now, Coach Mo Athletics?
Oh, man. So, very simple. I think you'll put a lot of links right now. We got a transition going on. It's our transition to different services. So, right now, we just started our tryout prep, which we still get into, and we'll talk about at the end. The tryout prep is getting kids a chance to come in, do that the extra work, the physical part, the skill work, the mental game, to get themselves prepared for middle school and high school tryouts. So we're doing that right now.
And the mental piece is really important, because we've had lots and lots of conversations with our 8th graders specifically regarding behaviors.
Yep.
And we've really been trying to lock in the 8th graders. And of course, there's always going to be growing pains, but it really should never be where we're having to address the 8th graders as much as the 4th graders. And that's hit that little spot. And so we had some conversations with them regarding, hey, you can't do this.
Right.
Coach will cut you immediately. The eye rolling, tickling each other. That's the one. And I know we talk about it a lot, but it happens a lot and it's weird.
The tickle's super weird.
The tickling each other is wild. But and just talking, when the coach is talking, not paying attention. And so we let it know, like, hey, man, this ain't going to make it.
Man, it's just the self-control of the kid, like the mouth is like unbelievable. And we're just hard. Like, you hear it when I'm at games and I watch other team. I think our 8th graders, I think we started off the season, or it's like, the end of a season or something, like last year.
Right.
And we played a team from somewhere else. They know who they are. Eventually, they're not even from here. And man, the kids were talking reckless to like the parents, the ones that weren't playing. I'm talking about kids in the crowd. Right? I was like, what is going on? But that is an issue. That issue, and we try to really eliminate that when we talk about that in our trial prep. Like, that can't go. But the first time you do that, you may be done in high school.
Well, and the reality is, it's not 100% perfect. Sometimes our kids are still kids, and we still see it. It'll pop out in games. It'll pop out during games or whatnot. We pull them off the court, and we have a conversation with them and address it with them. And you try to shape what the behaviors are that we want to see, because realistically, we're trying to set the kids up to play for somebody else,
right,
to play at a higher level for somebody that's not us. And so they got to be able to receive feedback from all of our coaches and implement it, so that when they leave us, they can receive feedback from every coach they come in contact with. And so that's really what we're trying to build here. And so we're trying to build in that level of consistency. And that's one of the things we did talk about last time was consistency. So, and we've been on our 8th graders. And last Monday was one of the best sessions that we've had. They've implemented everything that we had been discussing, and we're a little bit more serious and took it serious and getting them prepped for the business of the season. And the hard conversation about some of these kids is like, hey, you might got 2 years left. And some of you don't know it.
And this might be it.
Right.
You might have 2 months left.
Right.
You might have if you're not going to change your work ethic, your behavior, you may have 2 months of basketball left.
Well, and one of the things is last time we discussed it, and so Coach Mo's going to have some tips for that transition piece. But we had tips for individual skill groups, like for smaller guards, and a lot of our players are smaller guards. What does talking about what smaller guards need to do? The same things we say on here are the same things we talk about in academy,
Right.
and so that's why we're really big on the academy piece of it. So with tryout prep underway, Coach Mo, I'm going to turn it over to him for a second to give a rundown of what people can expect coming to trial prep. What I will say is we change the time frame around so that we can match people's times
Mm-hmm.
when they might have tryouts. So initially it was a 6 week offering. We decided just to make it, was it this Tuesday, all the way through the first week of November.
Yeah.
Just so that you can come in, pay your 250. It's 250 for now. Price is going to be going up here probably in the next 48 hours.
Right.
But it's 250 now for the early birds, and it puts you in a position where you come in and it's a boot camp.
Yep.
It's going to be intense. It's going to be hard work, but it's really built to create the kind of athletes that need to walk into tryouts. So, what can they expect coming in? Because we already did one session or two sessions of it through our normal speed and agility night and through our academy night. We turned those into the boot camp. So, what can they expect when they come in, Coach?
Well, you're going to be grouped with the people coming that will push you, like what we did with the speed and agility part of it. The trial prep kids were with high school guys; they were with each other, and they were ready to go. So we come in, we give a speech. We basically say it's serious, it's locked in. We have an agenda. We tell them the 8 to 10 things they're going to do, and we're going to actually get it done in that time. We're going to keep moving. I made that very clear. Like, there's not putting anybody in timeout. We're not having heart to hearts because because you feel like I'm hot because I didn't bring my water. But you like this, we're getting you ready to a real tryout. You would absolutely need to be prepared. You'd absolutely need to have basketball shoes on for basketball tryout. You have to have running shoes if they tell you to go run out in the track for your stuff. So we tell them that stuff. Like, the coach isn't being mean. That is what you're going to expect. So we talk about what it's going to look like. Kids think it's like, if I go in and I drop 50 points at this tryout, you're not going to have an opportunity to score 50 points. The trials don't work like that. They don't work like that. They're looking if you can lay the ball up with 2 hands, or your right hand, left side. Look, can you pass? Can you rebound? They want to know if you can shoot. You're cooking, sure, but are you a good teammate? Are you on time? Are you prepared? Did you walk into this tryout with flip flops?
Right.
Oh, did you slide in, take your time, have your headphones on like you're Hollywood, and took your time, and now they're looking like, oh, it's not really important.
There's no hustle.
There's no hustle. So we talk about that, and then once we start, it's nonstop cardio. It's jump rope, it's footwork on the ladders, it's cone work. We're just going. We're getting you so where you walk into a tryout, you don't have to worry about, man, do I have enough wind to run down the court? Am I flexible enough to get down and pick up a basketball during a turnover? Can I pass with both hands because I've stretched myself out and got ready to go? I can step into a pass now and not do that. So we're getting you ready, and it's a nonstop thing. And what we encourage, what I love about Monday night when we did the basketball piece of it, was the encouragement you get in there where you're having 3 to 4 coaches and your teammates rooting you on and seeing what you're doing. So it's a lot of that stuff. It's a lot of family. It's a family organization kind of thing. But the level is 3 to 5 times level higher than you probably have ever done.
So, Coach, real quick. So the thing I do want to pivot back to is this: tell them what they need to show a coach at tryouts. What are coaches actually looking for during tryouts in your experience?
Coaches are looking for, one, are you ready to play the sport that they're coaching? They don't really care about what you're. Oh man, this summer I was cooking on my AAU team, and I was a starter at this one school I'm coming from. I was a point guard, ran the team. They don't want to know about all that. They can care less. So what they're looking for is, are you ready to help me in my program, in my system? Are you going to help me win games? Number 1. 2, are you prepared for it? You should know what your shoes feel like. What does it mean by that? Like, you should know what shoes you're bringing to try out. You should know what shorts you're going to wear, those things there. You can't get there like, oh man, coach, I got the wrong shoes to try out. Man, I had to break these in. These are like, they're like, no. They want you to come in and be ready to go. Also, if your practice is at 3:45. You get out of school at 3:15. Why are you getting to practice at 3:44? You're inside the school.
Right.
You're inside the school. They know what time you're out. So that week of tryout, you need to get downstairs or upstairs where your gym is and be ready to go immediately. Give yourselves 10 to 15 minutes to warm up, get shots, get ready, because when it starts, they're not taking you through a 20-minute warm up. They don't have time for that. They already got it. Coaches already know. They have an idea of who they want from summer practices, but they have an idea. You got to get on that list if you're not on that list. So you need to be in the gym with those people that are on that list and warming up before them. Come into practice and compete. So when you get the tryouts, you got to compete. So if they're asking you to cover the senior point guard that is unstoppable to everybody else, you got to cover them. You got to cover them because it's going to show you what you're able to do. Sure, if he cooks you, cool. That's what you're supposed to be doing, right? But if you can get 2 or 3 good stops, box out, get a rebound, don't worry about them talking in your face and clapping, and you just go straight ahead and work, you have a better chance to get eyes from that coach. Show up and show out. When you're there, I would rather, I do tryouts in high school and beyond, I'd rather just take the person that wants they're just going 100% hard, like they're ready to roll, like whatever, like they are trying to win the race. When they're like touch the line, they are running to win, not running to look around. We say do 10, they get right at 10 and stop, and there's 30 seconds more to go do. Like you get 10, you go get 11.
Right.
You get 11, we'll get 12. Same thing we talk about classroom. Like when kids like, man, that teacher didn't like me, man. I ended up getting a B plus. Man, you were 2 points off. You would have went and talked to that teacher about that extra paper. You would have got an A. You got an A. So you got to look in my mind. It's like I have to do everything as an A, and what I mean by that is I have to go on these trials. I got to shoot. I got to pass. I got to do everything like two. I got to do it like I know how to do it.
Right.
When you are done, it's go rest your body. So you have day one or whatever, something you have day 2, 3, you go rest your body, you go recover, you get ready to come back, and then you reflect on what you did. And then honestly, we talk about this 2, 3, we always talk about this. You think you didn't do good or you had questions? Go walk to the coach afterwards. Wait till everybody's gone. Well, I didn't remember that last two drill. I know we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Can you help me do it? I guarantee you, if the coaches are doing the right thing, they're going to break it down to you and tell you what you need to work on for day 2. Unless they do cuts day 1, right? Expectations of day 2, mostly they've narrowed the list down. So they narrow the list down who they're going to take and who they're not going to take. So if you still are on that between, you got to make them put you on that list. So the same thing is hard work and doing those things there. But if you're not going to give any effort, you might as well in your own mind know that it's pretty much over. It's pretty much over. So you're there. If they cut, it's that reality check time. Reality check time, like, did I do everything 100%? Did I really go out? Did I really box out, like I said? Because I really do it in my neighborhood against the kids that don't play basketball. Right. But I had a chance to do it against other basketball players. I did nothing that I was supposed to do there. So the reality check is it could be over day 2 or day 3. And then we already talked about this. We talked about it in the past podcast. Where do you go from there? Where do you go from there? So that's what you should be expecting. Like, you have to work hard. It'll be the hardest thing in your life. It's not going to be what you think. You don't go in there, and I ain't seen it. You don't go in there and scrimmage for 2 days or 2 hours. You got to do other stuff. They're going to ask you. I've seen some good ones. They're like, hey, we're going to present 4 plays. You're going to look at it. You're going to study it from it too, and then I'm expecting you to run it. You got to run it. And guess what coaches look at? If you give it effort. Right. They're not expecting you to learn that new play overnight. But they're saying, if I told you to cut to the basket to the right and I just gave you some feedback, you better go to the right the next few times. But if you go left 10 times in a row, you're not learning. You're not retaining that information.
Right. So a couple of things. Step out of the fantasy thinking that you're going to come over and dominate these people that have been here for 3, 4 years. You're not going to come out here and just dominate them when you step out on them.
Good mentality to have that you're going to be tough and you're going to do go 100%, but you're not going to have this. There's a reason that person's been a 4-year starter. Yeah. There's a reason that person is in the weight room and their name is on Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so for lifting so much and doing whatever. Like, okay, this person's a legit athlete.
Right. Go all out. We want you to go all out and prove that you can be on the same floor with them.
Right.
But don't think that it's going to be like a movie or somewhere. They just discover you and stuff. You got to go out and earn. Coaches, if y'all listening, and I'm not talking about just our coaches, I'm talking about coaches who coach schools and whatnot. If it's reaching your ears, we do have a service to get these players ready for y'all. That's our tryout prep. Please recommend it to somebody out there that needs it.
I'm glad you said that. I think sometimes I don't know if you've noticed I think people have told our podcast have been, we've got that little edge back. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get that edge back. You know, that you and our edge is like, we're here to help you. Our program is here to help other coaches, like help parents get themselves ready. Like, if your kid needs something like this, reach out. If you have a team of freshmen in your new school, I know I talked to some people during the summer league, and they're like, "Well, we got a whole new team of freshmen." And I've asked the coach, I've asked them, like, I hope you're listening. Like, this is the time to reach out. If they've not played a lot of competitive basketball, it's good time to reach out. We are here to help. It doesn't mean that you want to. If you want to build up skill work, you can. And I understand with coaches. I know I didn't have a whole lot of time when you're doing high school or two to do a bunch of skill work several months in advance.
Right.
It was like when the tryouts came up, we were getting ready to jump into a game in 2 weeks. You don't give them 2 weeks, you're getting prepared. You're getting the kids ready for a game at that point. Right now, we're getting you ready to be a big part of your team, to make it be a big part of your team. Please reach out. Engineers, please reach out. Send them, and we can do the talking.
Right. We're trying to speak it into existence because we got some big things that are coming up, planned out for this year, specifically after tryouts, and giving opportunities for kids that may or may not have made the cut at their school. So we're going to we have a program that we're working out, Mo and I, and some of the coaches are working that piece out of what that looks like. But we also are reevaluating where we are with what we're gonna try next summer, because we see some opportunities and some gaps that as an organization we can step up and fill. But we're here as a service to benefit y'all. Yeah, we're a for-profit business. We're also creating a nonprofit to serve other people that we normally don't reach. But yeah, it's not free.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a service that if you put in the value, you're going to get the value back.
Right.
And so we're here to help your players be better. And I don't give a shit about the competition piece of it, or who beat who, or who out who to, and all this other stuff. I don't give a shit about stealing players from other teams, man. That doesn't bother me. And so, or that's not something that registers on my brain. Our service is we want to make players better. And that's what we built this entire thing to do. So if you want your player to get better, call us, reach out. We're not in competition with you. I don't care who you play for, or what team you represent, or what team you coach. If you need help getting your players better, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, and to go on with that, it's 100% true. To go on with that is, feel free, once you do that, come on the show.
Right.
Come on the show. We've offered so many times to other coaches, to organizations, to trainers, to business owners, to come on the show. Man, you got 10 freshmen that want to get developed with you. Get on there, on the show, and then come talk about what you've done with those kids, and come talk about that you need some sophomore. You need to talk about it. A lot of times, a lot of people don't understand, like, there's a school that might need your kid's skill set, and you force your kid to go somewhere because it was convenient for you. You know, but then you have a coach that comes up and said, I could have used your kid 2 years ago. I could have used your kid 2 years ago. I didn't know you really wanted to go. But we don't know that. So we want to make sure we are always willing to reach out and help. You know, I'm a person that you got something to bring up or say about the process or what we got to do. We answer. We answer the parents as best as we can. We answer the coaches. Just reach out. I know for a fact, I'm specifically to a coach, and he's been, man, I'll get back to you. Like, man, this is going to be one of the best things in your life to get those kids some skill work.
Well, when we ask every episode, and I'm asking again, if you want coach to do a tape breakdown or review your game tape, hey, that's what we want to do. That's a segment that we want to build. But we need people to reach out and say, hey, we have some footage that I want you to give you a breakdown and get some tips off of. We have the ability to do all that stuff. But realistically, that's what it is. We're in service to make players better. And I think a lot of times it gets lost in this weird competition that all these places are. We come in, and I'm gonna get a little bit, but we come in with a growth mindset. We come in with a wealth mindset where there's enough opportunities and there's enough room at the table for everybody to each get what they need.
Right.
We don't act like there's some deficit. There's no shortage of players that need help.
Right.
And as long as we're all working in good faith, we don't have to snake anybody. We don't have to go behind anybody's back, stealing it, because there's plenty of great players out there that need help and need guidance.
Right.
And so we're looking at it from a wealth perspective of there's so many opportunities out here for us to help. We're not saying that there's limit. We don't think that there's limits to what there can be and what we can do.
Why fight when we're trying to help?
Right. And I think a lot of people are coming in with almost this kind of, I hate to say it, but this poverty mindset where there's all this limits and there's a finite group of help that you can give or finite resources or a limited amount of resources. We ain't stepping to it like that. And so I'm really big about there's plenty of opportunities for us to all do things.
Mhm.
Now, competition's competition. I know how that rolls.
Right.
But we feel like we got one of the best products out there in the region. And so we're gonna stand on our square, talk our shit about it, and say this is really good.
Right.
And we have the proof. We have college players.
Right. And there's no need to get. And you're doing the kids a disservice if you have 16 kids on your roster,
Right.
and they're in fourth grade.
You're gonna hoard up
Yeah.
all the best players.
Right. It's not, those other kids aren't going to play. If that's the case, let them go. It's not your kids.
Right.
You get like kids. I have 3 kids that are half me. Right. I have 3. Those are my kids by a legal. Those are my kids. Every one of those kids, I work with those kids. I work with those kids. But those kids, I always tell them, you can do whatever you want to get yourself ready. If it's positive or whatever, get yourself ready for it. If you take 99% of my training, sweet, and on Sunday, your dad got you a shooting machine to go in the yard, you better go on that shooting machine and go in the yard with your dad and shoot those 500 shots. That's what we want you to do. But you don't have a kid not have an opportunity to do something because you're hogging them. And I went. AAU. So AAU, you should probably have 8. 8's a lot. 8's about the max. Because it's especially 17U because you're trying to get offers. You want to see the kids play. The recruiters want to see them play. So 8, right? 8. If you submarine sub and you do a bunch at times, sure, but about 8. In second grade basketball, you should have 16 people on the team. You need to break that up into 2 different teams.
Right.
Just because you want to make sure you're protecting or hiding these kids, well, that's not good. The last thing I want to do is be the parents at the game, and my kid has been in a program or doing something for 2 to 3 years, and they look the exact same or even worse after 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Something didn't work, and obviously you saw something didn't work, and you should have reached out. So we're asking, like, hey, let us help.
Well, we're saying let other coaches do right by the kids, like you said. If you don't need 18 players on one team.
No.
Split that team up so that the kids get the reps. And if you do have one of those 18 player teams, then maybe you got to sit down and look at how can I serve 18 kids at the same time? Yeah, am I doing a service to them? Right. These are the conversations that Mo and I have all the time offline. Right. The reality is we're here to help, but you got to reach out for the help, and don't let the ego piece of it get in the way. Our coaches work with kids from all over the city, and that's you have kids that aren't affiliated or that aren't under services with us that still come here and work out and stuff.
Right.
We're here to help, and if you don't want the help, that's fine. We're gonna keep serving other kids who want to get better. So, in the service of those kids, and we touched on it a little bit. So, as we're making that transition from summer ball to fall ball, and we're gonna talk about this and probably take a quick break and then go into stuff specifically about Dribble Drive Camp and the boot camp.
Right.
Because we already had the conversation about what small guards need to do. But in that transition between seasons, what are the things that kids need to do? What are the things players need to do? What are the things parents need to do?
Okay, number 1. There we go, 10. Number 1. Parents, you sit down and talk to your kids. Talk to them. Couple of little side notes. Are you still interested in playing basketball? It's been a long summer. Do you like basketball? Well, you know, do you like basketball? Is it something you're going to continue on? You invested a lot of money into it. Do you like it? You might get an answer you don't like. You might get an answer that surprised you. You might get an answer that you thought. You got to have that direct. It can be a 5 minute conversation. Is this something you want to continue on? You look like you were tired at the end of the AAU. You like you checked out. Is it because you're tired, or you needed? You're ready to get back with your team, or so find out. Once you find out, let's say on a positive, once you find out, map out your workouts. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to get better? Especially 17, you going to your senior year, the 2025 class. Shout out to them. Best class. I don't care. Fight me. 2025 class come out. You got to get right to work. You got to get right to work because this is your last year. And right to work is now I got to map out my time. When am I going to lift weights? Because basketball season's not here per se for high school or middle school like now. When am I going to lift weights? When am I going to get my shots in? When am I going to dribble? Start having a conversation with your high school coach. Can I get in early? You got to do some after school. There's some drill that you work on. You have the new playbook for this year. Have that conversation so you can start thinking like, okay, I got to get ready for this. Number 3 is just do it. Just actually, after you got the workout, you got to start it. You got to start it. It's like returning to the gym. If you ever get injured, you're like, hey, my shoulder hurt, my knee hurt. Like they're like, it sucks being off, but it's gonna suck more if you continue to stay off. And you get in there first time, you're like, ugh, feels weird, but you showed up and you got in there and you started. And so that's the thing is like, take your and Brian's over his last. Take your break. Take a week or two, or like that too, and take where you physically are getting your body rested, and then get back to work. You get to work. So we're back to work. So and then lastly is after I work, am I seeing progress? Am I getting better? And do I need to readjust? I still can't shoot really good coming from my right to my left on a rip through. What do I need to do? I gotta figure something out. Ding, ding, ding. Couple of our services, that's a free plug. But what do I need to do to get better? Go back to your parents after a couple of weeks. I think I need a shooting coach. They're asking me to shoot the 3-pointer at about 38, 39%. I shot 17% last year. I got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. They also said I was one of the slowest kids on the team. I couldn't get back. I need to figure out my cardio. So the parents are in that real conversation. If they're invested with you and they're looking outside, you're really dribbling, you're really going, you're really working, parents will be more likely to be like, all right, let's get you signed up for this other stuff. You sign up there. But if you don't look like you're interested, if it's just for fun, you'll find out in that conversation. And you can directly ask them, like, is this fun? Is this just fun ball, or you really want to work? Because fun ball for me would be, if my kid told me that, it would be just going to Dave and Buster's or whatever, and we get that at a basketball game, and I give you $5. I think they still do cash. Our Dave and Buster's card, and me and you have a shootout, and we're like, yeah, sweet, high five, and we're done. And we had a great time this weekend because you don't really want to pursue it. That's fine, but that conversation has to work after that first few workouts. Like, I still want to do it, and then and then trust the process of it again. Like, if you stick to something and you do your training and you're leveled up, you keep going back, having a conversation with your mom and dad, your aunt, uncle, whoever there, and then checking in with the coach every week. Like, hey, I'm trying this. Is there another play that I can learn up there? You will see progress and get you ready at least for that time. Right. So it's just keeping yourself involved. And then get ready to face the consequences at the end. Right. Did I or did I not have a plan that was going to get me ready? Was I ready or not? You're going to find out really quick in tryouts when that kid you didn't think was going to come out and that quiet kid was sitting in the back of the class and he shows up and he puts his shoes on and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, this dude was ready. I didn't think he was ready, but I should have known. I saw him coming those morning workouts. So I should have known when he was posting that. I was making fun of him being at 5 a.m. at a gym where I should have known when I saw him in academy with our guys. He was cooking all our guys. That person was ready. So that's it. just to recap is having that conversation, see if it's something you really want to do, plan out the workouts, talk to the coach, plan out the workout, do it, adjust as you need to. Gotta see improvement. If you're not, go back and readjust it. And then if you know you put 100% effort in it, there's fine. You're fine. But we talked about it. Don't be here 10 years from now talking about what you could have did. Right. Don't be Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico. Well, and it's garbage in, garbage out. If you put in a garbage effort, you're going to get back out garbage outcomes. And so I think that's the thing. And so build a program, build a little program so that you can improve your inputs,
right,
and come in to tryouts ready to rock and roll, ready to be in shape and stuff like that. And we work on your individual skills. That's what we're here to do. And so that's why I wanted to talk. That's why I wanted Mo to talk about that.
Right.
Because that's what our tryout prep is here to do. Because some kids, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna keep it buck. So we know that we're talking to you out there, young player. So you didn't make the team last year. You played around with summer ball a little bit in the spring, but you didn't really lock in this summer.
Right.
This summer was spent getting your Call of Duty numbers up or whatever y'all play now. I don't know anymore. I'm out of touch.
Every time I think Fortnite's going, they all say they play Fortnite still. Like
Fortnite, the Marvel shooter joint that I want to get on that's only on PC. Whatever you play, college, 2Ks out there. So you did that. That's what you spent your summer on. You didn't make the team last year, but that's what you spent your summer on. And you're going to take this same shambling mess that was in tryouts last year. You're going to try again. And your feelings going to get hurt.
Right. The coaches remember you. They're not. Yeah. They remember what you did last year.
Your feelings about to get hurt because you didn't put in the right inputs to get the outputs that you want. We have a service for you.
Yep.
Because we're taking it extreme and really making it demanding because we know even some of our kids that were with us all summer, they weren't 100% locked in. And so we're trying to get them ready so that they can put in their best effort. Because here's the thing, man, with tryouts, really, and I'm a limited.
Right.
With tryouts, really, you got a limited window to show these people who are strangers to you your best self.
Yeah.
So you better make that snapshot worth it.
They probably, and don't let it be like a new school and a new coach. They don't know anybody.
They don't know you from Adam.
They don't know anybody. So all this stuff you talking about and your little clips you put on IG, that coach might not commit. Your coach might be on IG.
Yeah.
Oh man, you see my coach clip? Coach like, nah, I'm not on social media. Well, then what do you do?
They don't know you from a can of paint. We ran into it this summer. Such and such, my son, daughter, whoever played for this team, and they was this, that, and the third. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, it doesn't translate.
That's cool.
The names don't necessarily translate to us. And so we're looking at what this kid is doing now versus what they've done in the past. And so a lot of times that coach don't have any history with you. They're looking at that snapshot. They don't know your previous body of work.
Right.
And so you come in, Call of Dutied up, full of Cheetos and bad effort, and you're going to go out there and the coach is going to see it. Right. And their snapshot is going to be permanent. So you come in your sophomore year, they see you not being it. Guess what? They're going to remember you for your junior year. That's another image that you're going to have to come back in their minds. Right. Come in prepared. That's what the service is for. Lock in and sign up. We have spaces open. That's what we're saying. Tryout prep. It's a boot camp to get you ready for tryouts. You have to be ready to hit the ground running.
And I challenge coaches not to be. They gotta have a balance too when they're like looking for. You gotta have a balance of like I know you want every kid to work like Johnny and Maya over here, right?
Right.
They may be the two people that are just different. It is different. Most people or most kids need someone to tell them, and they also need a parent to tell them, like, to remind them of like, this is a tryout coming up.
Right.
We will only take 8 of our 75 of you. There's only 8 spots for 75. I would suggest this, and this. So you gotta understand what hey, everybody go work. And I kind of like, You gotta work. You gotta be a dog. You gotta be beat. I need a dog in you. Blah, 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 blah. Got it. Like, what are you asking them to do?
Right.
What are you asking them to do? Are you asking them to be a tough defender? Sweet, I got it. I know the street slang. I do. I got it. But some kids need you to break that down. And we're saying keep an open mind. Also, to like I said, we can help with a lot of that stuff. So if you don't have the time to develop the new freshmen coming in, the 4 sophomores that are going to, like you said, they got under the radar last year. Yeah, we're only take a few of them. Send us those 4.
Yeah.
Send us those 6. We can help you out.
Right.
Just open, be open a little bit more. Don't be so hard that you're like, I'm going to give up on this. I've heard it. I've heard coaches completely give up on kids, and then the kid will find themselves or find a trainer or find what to do, and they save their own career.
Right.
That shouldn't happen. It should be more like, let's open opportunities for all 70 of these kids on the team. You either take it or not.
Right. So that's what we got. We're going to take a quick pause for the calls. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about consistency again. We're going to talk about dribble drive camp and more tips for players. All right, we're back. So the consistency piece, and we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago when we did the last live stream. We talked about consistency with effort and making sure that as the parent, you are modeling the consistency by consistently bringing your kid to train and do what they need to do. Also enforcing the consistency at home, because I think some of the times we get caught up so busy, we get so wrapped up in the way that life flows that we forget that kids do need structure. And I'll be honest with you, I've done it. I've worked residential. I've run residential programs. I've designed residential programs. The one thing the kids fight against is structure. The one thing the one thing they crave is structure. And so we need to talk about the consistency with parents to make sure that you're structuring your kids' time right and not over scheduling them for too many other activities. If you want them to be a ball player, and if they want to be a ball player, you need to set up their schedule so that they can be the best ball player possible. Mm-hmm. Coach Mo, what do you see? Because we are, and I want to clarify one thing: we aren't against multi-sport athletes. We encourage kids to play multiple sports.
I did too.
Yeah, every kid is best playing multiple sports, but there comes a limit. And what's the limit? What's the threshold, Coach Mo, when you got too much on your plate?
When your body starts giving out, when you're like when the kid cannot move, they are so sore. Not I worked out sore, where it's like there's chronic pain in their back, there's chronic pain in their knee. They're like the kid literally dreads physically going. Also, they're mentally broke down. Like I don't want to go today. Well, why? You got to grind. I don't. So the physical and mental check out is too much. It's too much. And then when they're telling you like, I'm done after this season.
Yeah.
And they're a freshman.
Right.
Something's wrong. They got to listen. And that comes back. We talked about that conversation should have been going a few times.
Right. Do you find yourself beefing a little bit more with your teenager more than average?
Right. It's sums up.
It could be that you got them overscheduled. They're doing too much. They're eye rolling more than they used to eye roll at you, or you're getting into pointless arguments. This might be a kid telling you that they're tired. Right. And so we have to understand, and sometimes you got to prioritize. You want the kid to play football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, competitive gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics, diving, synchronized swimming. You want them to do all of this stuff. But what does the kid want to do, and what's their favorite? And maybe pick a few favorites and stick with those and grind with those.
Yeah, if it's not fun anymore, and you can that's another one. It's not fun anymore. They're like, oh, we're going to this thing again. Yeah.
Again.
Right. It's not fun.
So that's what we're talking about, is making sure that you're structuring that day to make sure that they're getting enough rest. And sometimes even scheduling a little bit of an off season for them. Even if they're playing stuff year round, you can always schedule a little bit of off season. We're pretty open to it. And we encourage our parents to try to schedule a little bit of an off season for as long as you stay in contact with us.
Right.
But if we're heading into a season and we're trying to get prepped for the season, we're going to expect it to be a little bit more locked in. But off season during the summer, spring, whenever, that's cool. And it's sitting down and reaching out to us, and so we can figure out what it looks like. Because there may be a position where sometimes we got to roll with who's here.
Right.
And so sometimes we may say, all right, but if they come back, we're going to do another tryout. We're not pushing you out, but we're saying we can't always guarantee that the spot's going to be held open specifically just for you. But for the benefit of the kid, if you need an off season, take off season. So that's where we're at. It's balance. It's balancing and listening to your kid.
Right.
And listening to what they do.
It's good. So like we're doing a podcast where people, this is what we want, the interaction. Like, right. Like the interaction. People are saying that. People are saying they're actually just saying that. Like ask me, what should I say to the coach? And when should I say it? And I said, just you go back and listen to this. And if you listen to it, like you'll start asking now. Like you're asking now. If you're a senior, you're probably gonna have different expectations of what you're gonna do. If you are a returning starter, they probably want you to be the leader in the locker room, a leader in the weight room, and so too. So for those who are asking me right now too, like leave us a message or keep doing this. Let us know this is the whole purpose.
So are you getting questions?
Yep, we're getting ready.
So let's specifically answer some of the questions here.
Right, and that's one of them. When I talk to the coach? Immediately.
Open lines of communication.
Yep, immediately. Yep. So I got that. Yeah. Talk. Take your break, and you're ready. Yeah. So how long should you take? If you're not injured, you need to be back. If you're not injured, you need to be back. I like the communication piece. Right? Yeah. I'm not gonna know your name, but I like the communication piece because with the communication piece of it is. Specifically, I wish I'd have communicated a little bit more with my parents.
Right.
Me and Dad had a different relationship. We were both athletes. We bumped heads more than problem solve. Like, where it's like his expectations for me was this, and I got to the point where I was burnt out with certain things. And someone was just like, do I want to do track this year? No. And I was really successful in track. Track was probably my best sport. People were like, oh, track is my best sport. I'm like, cool. I just run at 200. Why am I running 4 miles every day? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if this out of school. I'm like, I don't want to run more than. I didn't even want to run one lap. I was a 200 runner. I was a sprinter, and I ran a 4x1. I run third. I'm like, I don't want to do this my senior year. And that conversation probably should have came earlier with my parents,
right? But
I didn't. And so. I'm a late bloomer I was too busy trying to avoid the conversation and be a comedian and do everything but talk to my parents.
Right.
Talk to my parents. And once I got serious, which was college and beyond I'm so far behind because I just didn't talk. Right. I didn't ask. That coach really wasn't being a jerk. I really didn't work hard. I was faster. I could have did an extra line. I could have did 10 more pounds on the bench. I could have. But I never asked why. And so one thing I think with tryout prep and just whatever we do in our programs in general, I think this Monday was a big thing. Whoever came to Academy Monday got a treat. It was one of the best I think we've had. It got a treat. And we got it. Somebody just need that one person, and our coaches do it where they're like, hey man, you did good today. Like, that's the best I've seen you look. You know that? Coaches, you don't know how far that goes instead of saying, it's about time you did this. You see the difference? It's about time you did this. Man, you finally showed up and did something. How about they're there, they're competing, they're doing what you said, and you got them help, and they're doing better, getting prepared for your team. So there's the balance. And so versus ask me what to do, ask those questions.
Well, and I would say also, throw that in there, when I say the communication, tell the coach, hey, we're dealing with some nagging injuries, foot's inflamed, leg is inflamed, knees hurting, and so we just need about a week.
Right.
We're going to shut them down for a week or two, shut him or her down for a week or two, let them get full rested up, and then we'll be back at you. in a week or two, but we just need a little bit of time because we're coming off this season. We're coming off soccer season. We're just beat up.
I want you to talk about that. I'll let Brian talk about that. So we're like, I always thought it was communication. So let's go back to communication. Parents, you have to also communicate with your trainer, the team they're on, if they're going to the school team, or the other trainer, the other team, the volleyball coach, the dance instructor, the singing, the piano. Talk to why the parents should do that as well. Like, it should be like what the parents' role should be with communication.
Well, as a parent, you're the advocate for your kid. And so you're the one that's going to advocate the best for them. And you have the talent and ability as the adult to say things that the kid may not have the ability to say and communicate in a way from one adult to another.
Right.
Because if it's coming from the kid, sometimes the coach might take it as, oh, this kid's just dunking the smoke or it's a cop out and everything. But if the parent comes in and says, listen, this was a rough soccer season, knees are jacked up a little bit, ankle swollen, rolled an ankle a couple of times, just finished last tournament and they're banged up, we need a couple of days to rest. That's fine.
Or, how long that conversation probably take?
It takes about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Or the one that we ran into specifically, this kid is messing up in school.
I'm thinking about.
This kid is messing up in school, and instead of coming and saying, hey, coach, because here's the reality. Mo knows this. We've sat kids down at academy with their homework and made them do homework while everybody's out doing drills.
Yep.
And they had to get their homework checked before they can come out and drill. If you're messing up in school, please communicate that to the coach. Over-communicate it. The thing you do not want to do is just yank this kid out of the sport. Because you not only are hurting this kid, you're hurting the team. Mm-hmm. And the kid needs to know that even though you screw up, you are still expected to go out there and handle business. If you screw up something at your job, you don't get to just, boss doesn't just say, okay, go home and don't come back for 2 weeks. You still got to come in and you might get reassigned. You still got to come in and put in the work. You still got to do the other jobs. You don't get to duck your responsibility.
Right. Just
because you got in trouble for not taking the garbage out doesn't mean that you don't have to fix dinner the next day.
Right.
So you still got to clock in and handle your business. And so communicate with the coaches and let them know, hey, man, he's not meeting the expectation in school. One of the worst things in the world when I played football was hearing coach get wind of somebody screwing up. Screwing up, you skipping classes or whatnot. Because that consequence was enforced on the field.
Yep.
After practice. For us, it was you had to roll. You had to roll. You missed practice, you had to roll 100 yards.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's legal anymore. A lot of kids got sick off of it. It was a little bit better than running, but once you roll 700 yards and the world won't stop spinning, it's different.
Listen, Generation X, listen. I'm gonna write a book one day.
So
I'm writing a book one day. I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna get you, Mom.
But what we're saying is communicate with coach if you're having behavioral issues at home.
Yeah.
The coach will help enforce those because that does translate to what the coach is seeing. Because if the kids rolling their eyes and sucking their teeth at you, they're probably doing it with the coach and assistant coach. So they're gonna want to get online with you to address it.
Most coaches care. Most programs care. Like if there's something going on, we care. Like we know it's bigger than basketball at that moment. Like too, but talk to us. Like talk to us. Like it might be as simple as rolling up to the school. Like I've been a part of a lot of kids' IEP meetings.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with that. Having a coach, kids actually get excited sometimes seeing their outside coach be a part of something they didn't think they need help in. Like I go to IEP meeting, like, oh, he does that too. Hey man, you know how we do in practice. You would have to run in that situation. You can't do this in this. You're supposed to be locked in here. They just might need you there.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and the communication piece is strong, and I know that's what we're focusing on. The communication piece, communicate issues that affect the kids, behavior and other stuff that they got going on. But here's the other side. Before we started this, my entire background was working with kids that have behavioral issues and maintaining the residential environment. I used to get the kids that got kicked out of school. I even got kids that got kicked out of juvenile detention. So I am used to dealing with kid behaviors.
Right.
I also used to teach parenting courses and work in homes to teach parenting skills. If you guys are having issues with behaviors, I'm talking to our parents that are watching and that are currently in services with us. If you have trouble managing, if you're having trouble managing a kid's behavior, come talk to me. This is what I used to do. I used to figure out what the kid's issue was, figure out the behavior that you wanted to go away, or the behavior you wanted to see more of, and figure out ways to make that thing happen. So for the parents that are in services with us, this is what my old life was. When I talk about what my old life was, it was teaching parents, training parents, and managing behaviors in kids. And so I've stepped back for a little bit because I can be overbearing and I can overtake the coaches if I get out there and sort of really get on it. But this is the stuff I used to do. So if you're a parent that's in services with us and you're seeing behavior issues with your kid, boy or girl, age don't matter. Sit down, schedule a time to talk to me because I know how to do. I can help out with that kind of stuff.
And we were teenagers, and I think a lot of parents we were all teenagers,
right?
One time, and we all made mistakes. And we all got attention. We all talked too much one time. We all could have did better on the one task. We were late to class, and I know we want to be the best parents that we can possibly can. You do it. But it's okay to ask for help.
Right.
It's okay to ask for help. My mom was a teacher. So they call her every day. I wasn't doing it. I was talking, which helps me as a coach. And it actually turned out to be really good. I was talking. And my mom would stop. I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm just bored. But when I communicated to her, she's like, what do you mean bored? Like, well, I'm really good at this. English was my thing. I was really good. I already did my stuff. I turned it in. If I had an assignment in English, I was done that same day. Now, algebra was a little different thing for me, but it was English. So she called a teacher, can we problem solve? And like, hey, when he's done, can you give him something extra or can you send him to the library or something like that to fix the problem? Right. And it fixed the problem because I communicated that it fixed the problem. I wasn't I wasn't talking negative. I had to wait for everybody for 40 minutes.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. The communication piece is really important. And so when I say I'm actually a professional, I actually was a professional in that field of behavioral management for kids. But the bottom line is you need to communicate with the coach. And it's not just, we're not going to be at this game or we're not going to be at this practice. This kid is raising hell at home. We've had to address that. This kid's raising hell at home. Okay, how can we help support you? Because that's what we're here to do as an organization. Because helping support you means how do we help you structure it so that you don't have to deal with this kind of behavior at home? Also, if they show this behavior on the court, it's over. No school's going to put up with it. No. Even schools for alternative schools that have athletic programs, their coaches still have low tolerances. They're not going to put up with crazy behavior that's out of control. So it's best that we get clamps on it now and teach the kids how to self-regulate and self-monitor and monitor their own behaviors.
There are power in words.
Right.
And sometimes, and we've done it, we've had multiple families, your approach may not be the best.
Right.
And to your kid because that kid lives with you. So you might have an emotional approach to how they're playing for the fall, playing for their basketball season.
Right.
You may approach it wrong because your words may not be good. Sometimes it's like, hey, I try to people like Coach Bill, like I'm gonna yell at this boy if I see him do like he be tripping, wants to clean his room, blah blah blah. I'm like, don't mean you don't want to play basketball. That doesn't mean he's a bad kid. Can you talk to him? Sure. I'm not in your household, but I can tell that kid like, hey, clean up your room because you're gonna roll your ankle. If you roll your ankle and get hurt, you're out for the season. You have stuff on the floor. Something simple as that, a kid like, oh, that's important to me. That's important to me. It's always good to ask help. Even as a parent, I ask help with certain things because all three of my kids are different and may have different situations. And you ask help. But no reason to lose a kid that wants to play a sport or wants to do something or develop and get better because the initial communication just goes ghost. And we got to be honest. I'm really concerned when it's 2024 and we have cell phones and social media and things like that too, and you can't get a hold of your coach. Yeah. you can't get a hold of the aerobic instructor. You can't get a hold of the.
Can I throw this in here?
Yeah.
If your coach refuses to hold your kid accountable for poor behaviors outside of basketball or football or tennis or soccer, you probably need to find a new coach.
Right. And we will.
That's the one I got to put in there.
Yep.
Because if your kid is not being held accountable for their off-court, off-field, out of season behaviors by the coach, If they're screwing up in school and the coach is just fine with it, then that coach is not teaching this young man or young lady how to be successful in life. And that's what youth sports ultimately
Right.
is giving people life skills to be successful. And so you need to communicate with the coach and then evaluate whether the coach holds them accountable or not. But the thing we advise strongly against is do not just yank your kid. Don't just arbitrarily yank your kid out of sports if they're misbehaving. Communicate with the coach and let coach know what's going on. And if the coach decides that this kid is suspended,
Right.
for if they're suspended, then that gives extra weight and they can partner with you and say, okay, I've suspended him or her for the next 2 weeks. This are the things they need to do to work back. And these are things they need to show in home and in practice in order to earn their spot back. We can do that, but you have to communicate with us.
Imagine your whole life being altered because when you were 7 years old, you went to the grocery store with your grandma and there were grapes sitting there and you grabbed 2 grapes and you ate them because you were 7, you didn't know any better. Imagine security pulling you into the back office at 7 years old and saying, hey, you're a thief. You steal things. And now every time you go somewhere, you're going to wear this mark that says you're a thief. I'm going to make sure that you're never going to be able to be a normal 7th grader, high schooler, an adult, because at 7 years old, you made this one mistake, and that's it for you. No one does that. No one would like that. That would be a terrible thing. How about we just address that right now before we get to that part? And you never think about it. The kids make mistakes. Kids, they do want to play their game after school. They're kids. They don't clean their room right away. Sometimes I don't because I'm tired. But maybe it's just that conversation, but to just, I'm done with you playing in this sport at that moment. It's always a problem, especially without the communication. Without the communication, we look for the kid in the game time about to start. What happened? Oh, he had a bad week at school. What'd you do? I'm turning the jersey in from the school coach, and the school coach, he can't tell me any different, and they're done. That's just not good. It doesn't work like that.
Well, part of growing up is acting the fool and then learning how not to act the fool.
Right.
And learning how to fix things after you done acted the fool.
Right.
And so if you remove that ability for them to fix it, you're not teaching them anything. You're just punishing them.
Yep.
So show them how they fix it after they acted a fool. Now you got to show how you fix it. And show how you fix the damage that you created.
Yep.
And so that's what a coach can do. Communication is key. Please wrap the coaches into any behavioral management stuff that you need, because the coach may have some tricks and things that you are not aware of. And sometimes coaches aren't just coaches.
Right.
They have other things that they do that may give them some expertise that you're not aware of. But tap into it and don't just arbitrarily yank a kid out because they're not doing what you need to do. Because you're taking the thing that can get disciplined and you're removing it. So, and you're taking a tool out of your toolkit and saying, I'm not going to use this hammer.
Right.
I'm going to just use a screwdriver to drive these nails in.
Right.
And doesn't benefit anybody.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about with the consistency and the communication piece of it. Coming up, we have Dribble Drive Camp coming up next week.
Yep.
Sign up. We're going to be pushing that. You're going to start seeing more and more about it because we need to get more people into it. We have beginner, where we're teaching you how to dribble, intermediate, and advanced. Most people are going to be beginner, intermediate. We're going to have very few advanced. And we expect very few advanced. I'll drop the link for Dribble Drive here. But Coach, tell them a little bit what they can expect from Dribble Drive.
We've done them before, and they've gotten better and better. We're going to teach you, your basics, your warm-ups, how to use both hands, crossover, those things there. But what we do different, we apply them to game situations, game speed, how to attack, how to dribble 3 times, move the ball, how to dribble time, come off 2 and get a floater. We're going to make sure you give different scenarios on when and what kind of dribbles to do, how to protect the ball, how those things there. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes in this. And the drive part is, how do I finish after I go to the rim? How do I finish after somebody bumps me and I keep it there? So you learn. That's why we try to say, like, most kids and people are going to be intermediate. You probably played some seasons. But when the games have gotten tight, you struggle. And that's what I'm saying. Don't sign up for the advance. Advance, I'd say more as your high school starting varsity guys or JV. You've seen a trap. You've seen a zone. You've seen you've been bumped, you've been fouled, you've played multiple years of high school ball and some AAU ball. You understand that I'm now a senior. So seniors got to be, I'm a senior, I'm a junior there. So you're a fourth grader. Sure, you might be able to jump better than most fourth graders. Advance is, what if I put you against a fourth grader that is doing 20 times the work you are, you're going to turn that ball over. Right. And you don't know if they are until you get in these camps. Oh, there are people that are doing something. I love it. I love that competition. We do a lot of that in there.
So dates are August 23rd, Dribble Drive Camp, and starts at $75, goes up to $85. Go ahead and sign up. And we're looking pretty much beginner intermediate starts at 5:30, goes till 7, and then 7 to 8:30 is going to be our advanced group. Yep. And we'll probably split some of the intermediate kids there, so you probably can come to both. So,
yep.
But yeah, that's Dribble Drive Camp, 23rd. Sign up for it. It's a way to teach you how to handle the ball and how to score with it. And the other thing is, we're still doing academy. We're still doing. We're getting ready for in-season stuff. If you want to come play with us, you got to train with us, and that's the bottom line. Yep. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and with that is we're going to get in our teams. Like, we're filling in teams. I put out something earlier. We're looking for second, third grade boys. We're looking for 4th through 8th boys, different levels. We're looking for 6th through 8th girls, different level. Like, if those apply to you, contact us immediately, because not everybody went to a tryout this summer. And a lot of teams are, if you missed it, you were on vacation or you're playing, it happens. You may not have a lot of opportunities to get on teams right now. You'll get on teams right now. So hit us up if you missed it or you're like, this sounds like a good fit. One thing we'll tell you, we are here to develop players. We cool. If you're the next coming of whatever, cool. You still got to come get developed, because if I was talking to Brian earlier, when I heard Brand Hill was talking about LeBron, Curry, and KD in practice, specifically LeBron, he said this dude was in practice playing like it was the NBA Finals. Right. He's dunking 20 times in practice. He's 40 years old almost. Like, in practice, if he can do that, we want our kids at 12 and 11 to be able to get up and down the court without hurting themselves. In the court, we want them to be able to slide over and play defense without asking to get subbed out because they're tired. Either you're tired or, hey, I'm confused on why I should pass to an open person. Like, yeah, that's part of what we do in the academy. We'll talk about all that. When you are a team, like, we'll break down why you pass to an open person. Why do you want to hit an open layup? And how do I hit an open layup? Those are conversations throughout our academy. We're having that a whole hour and a half when we're doing it, a whole hour and a half. Like, you would have just did A, B, and C. And we did it last night. We did it. Kids are, I'm frustrated. I'm missing. Like, you just threw the ball up. Right. You just threw the ball up. Oh, I panic. We're going to teach you how not to panic. Take a deep breath. Stop panicking. Right. So if you come to us, you're going to get those kind of things. If you're like, I don't want to be developed, my kid is already an NBA caliber kid, that's pretty okay. That's okay. That's pretty good for you, but we're not going to argue and just move on, right? Right. So that's good.
You're not just paying for a roster spot with this. We play with kids and train with us. So if you're just looking for a roster spot, we can shout out, like, we got OSA, we got AEF. Yeah. You can go there and they'll put you on a roster, and that's cool. And if that's all you're looking for, that's cool. Yeah. We're a training program. And so the kids that play with us train with us. And those are two immutable points.
We want everybody playing a sport. Like you say, shout out to other people that you're like, boy, I'm friends with other people. So like, shout out to all these guys. Wrap it up. Like, shout out to Balloon, man. Shout out to those guys. Balloon Elite. Shout out to those guys. They're doing whatever. Shout out to any of these guys at Thunder. Any of these guys that are really helping kids get in here. If it's a good fit, go. The last thing I want to do is have 20 kids not go to anybody and they're not playing at all. Yeah. And they're playing at all. We're just saying what we offer. And if it doesn't fit, there's other places.
So and that's what I'm saying. We're coming from a growth, like a wealth mindset. There's plenty of opportunities for everybody.
Right. Shout out to all you guys, coaches, trainers that are here to actually help kids. We appreciate it.
We still have our everything service, which is the season pass. The price is about to go up here in the next. I was supposed to do it on Monday, so you got a little bit of grace period. Everything pass is everything that we do plus everything that we will do for 12 months. Right now it's $1,500. That price point's about to evaporate. because that's a fantastic deal. And so that's going to be readjusting back up to what it normally is, which is still a pretty good discount. We talked about Dribble Drive. Sign up for Dribble Drive. Sign up for Tryout prep training. Don't hesitate. Don't wait, because we're going to get at capacity, and there's not going to be any space for people.
It happens every year.
It happens every year, and we don't want anybody to come in and not have an opportunity to get better and walk into tryouts not prepared. So that's what we got, guys. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. If this is something that connects with you, let us know. If you have questions, be in the inbox. If you have stuff that you want us to discuss on the podcast, shoot us an email, coachmoathletics@gmail.com. Shoot us, or in the inbox, or one of the comments or whatnot. There are plenty of ways to reach us. If you got questions, if you got game footage, send it to coachmoathletics@gmail.com. And I will probably be putting that put a graphic overlay or whatever that has that on there. So there are multiple ways that you can reach us and interact with us. Coach Mo, do you have anything else?
That's it. Shout out to 2025. It's class 2025. It's actually personal to me because I have my first senior in my house is here. So you guys all started school this week. The word of advice we say is it's not time to play. It's not time to relax. Get the homework in. Get your work done. Don't do silly stuff in class. Don't do silly stuff out of class. Lock in. This is your last year of high school athletics. Give your best effort. Go out and be the best you can and go make something of yourself.
Senioritis doesn't exist until after the season.
Now,
yeah, don't start senioritis early. Let's wait till May.
Right.
Where you got a week left in school.
Right. Right.
So that's all we got. We appreciate y'all's time. Thank you for tuning in. It's Brian.
Coach Mo.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.